You have to give yourself credit. Good morning. You have to give yourself credit. I believe that it is very important that you take some time to acknowledge where you are, what you have overcome, and the wins that you've established or have acquired up to this point. You've done well for yourself. Oftentimes we look at our successes and we compare them with everybody around us. And so, as long as you're doing better than your siblings, as long as you're keeping up with the Joneses, as long as you're in the top 5 of those you run with, a lot of people find that to be okay. Well, this morning we're continuing our teaching series on this whole concept of winning. Winning through the fact that if you're dreaming big, chances are you're going to win. If you're dreaming big, chances are you're going to do more than others. And a lot of people aren't dreaming that big. A lot of people aren't dreaming that big. Good morning to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Tuesday morning. This morning, I want to dive into the whole subject matter as to what keeps people playing small. What keeps people playing small? Someone is going to do extremely well. And very few of us ask ourselves, why not me? Why not me? Very few people ask themselves, why not me? The truth is, someone is going to do well. Why not me? Why not me? I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to make a commitment to push the envelope. I want to challenge you to push yourself further than you've ever pushed yourself before. That's the only way you're going to be able to maximize your potential. Now, unfortunately, some of us have gotten out of the gate slow. Some of us have not been really strong in pushing ourselves. I'm telling you today, you've got to make a commitment. I'm going to push myself to do a little bit more. Not pushing yourself to become stressed out, to become overwhelmed or caught up in all of the busyness of the world. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just looking at yourself and says, where am I settling? And where can I do more? Where am I settling? And where can I do more? I want you to think about that this morning. All of us have room for improvement. All of us have room for improvement. Don't allow anybody or anything to stop you from becoming your best self. The ability to improve is within all of us. Okay? The ability to improve. Now, here's the deal. I was writing this down the other day and I was thinking about these sessions and how I've been playing small for so long. So I wrote this down. When we play small, we are living our lives in a state of fear. Okay? When we play small, we're living our lives in a state of fear, which actually cause our actions to become motivated by low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is a major issue for a lot of people. And that's one of the reasons why they won't raise their hands. That's one of the reasons why they won't go in front of the room. That's the reason why they won't ask for what they believe they deserve at the very core. How many of you would be honest and say, boy, for years I struggle with low self-esteem. I don't know about you, but I have. I struggle with low self-esteem. The other one is, what's it? The need for outside validation. Ooh. The need for outside validation. And let me tell you something. Oftentimes when you start to dream big within causes you to consider, desire, pursue things others around you may not be in pursuit of. So if you're caught up and into outside validation, you may just never do anything great because the people around you aren't going to cheer you on because they're not into you doing big things. There are a lot of people who are not doing phenomenal things because the people that are around them are discouraging them from ever dreaming, ever imagining of anything better. There's always room for improvement, but watch the people in your life who are not supporting that. Did you hear me this morning? Watch the people in your life who does not encourage you to get better. The Debbie Downers, the people who are inclined to say, girl, I wouldn't change my car. Boy, why would you want to start a side business? You know how much that's going to cost you and this. And they just, this outside validation, you're needing them to pat you on the back. And because the pat on the back only comes when you're hanging with them. But should you try to soar, you got to watch those people who aren't interested in celebrating you. So outside validation, you got to get to the point where you start to validate yourself. Write that down. I need to get to the point where I validate myself. I know I put my best foot forward. And should no one ever tell me that, I should learn how to tell myself, Ricardo, you've done well. Ricardo, you've done well. Some people will never tell you you've done well. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to you in your future if no one ever tells you? If the people you think should have told you never tell you? Somebody will, but what happens when the people you thought should have told you don't tell you? Outside validation, it's a big issue. Another one is a desire for temporary comfort. It's one of the things that keeps people back from going big. The desire for temporary comfort. I'm lazy. I just want to chill out. I just want to have fun right now. I just want to have, I'm only in the now, and that's all that matters. Comfort oftentimes breed laziness, and it's slothful, and a level of disengage, because it's just really in the moment, temporary comfort, not thinking long term, not thinking long term. I want to challenge you. What keeps people, what keeps people playing small? What keeps people playing small? Number one, I believe what keeps people playing small is we believe what our inner critic tells us. We believe what our inner critic tells us because we haven't gotten any training on how to deal with our inner critic. How many of you find yourself being very hard on yourself? How many of you find yourself not encouraging yourself? Lately, I've had to just learn how to tell that inner critic you're a liar. And let me tell you something. You got to train your inner critic to subject itself to your greater thoughts. To the Bible says, casting down vain imagination and every thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. The inner critic is real. All of us have an inner critic. Now, here's the deal. Some of us, our inner critic is out of control. You can't do nothing big like that. You ain't got no degree like that. You ain't got the confidence like that. Your outside, your view of outside factors, your inner critic reveals everything there. Look at the color of your skin. Look how old you are. Look what people gonna say. Look what people did say. Look what they did to such and such. Inner critic. You're not even that good. Come on. When you battle with an inner critic, it's just you battling you. When you're battling with an inner critic, it's you for I'm doing pretty good, but my inner critic will make me think I suck because there's always room for improvement. One of the things that I had to come to accept is there's always room for improvement, but your inner critic will make you feel like you're the worst thing that ever happened. And you got to learn how to develop the confidence to speak to yourself and tell that inner critic, no, you're not in charge here. Okay, and that's the reason you have to be able to motivate yourself. You need to know how to sell your message to yourself to get past your inner critic. Now, here's the deal: people will criticize you. Okay, people will criticize you, but let me tell you something. If you're dealing with external criticism and internal criticism, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You're gonna be stuck for a long time. You got to learn how to deal with external critics, and you got to learn how to deal with that internal critic. You got to learn how to remind yourself, you know what? That inner critic is not going to suppress the greatness within me. And those external criticism that's coming from people, I'm going to keep chipping away. I'm going to keep chipping away. I'm going to keep working on myself. So what keeps people from dreaming big? The inner critic. I can't do that. I can't never afford to do that. I didn't go to school for that. What will people say? That inner critic, boy, does it beat us up. Now, let me tell you something. I've been doing so much of what I dreamt of doing, only to find myself still beating myself up after I've done it. What's going on there? To imagine you dreamt of one day having the car, you got the car, and you're still beating yourself up because you're doubting the fact that you're still blown away you got the car. You're blown away you got the house. You're blown away you got you put a number out there financially and the number came and you're blown away. You didn't thought you deserved the number. Listen, all of that you have to address. If you want your life to be going up in the most progressive sense, you have to address your inner critic. Number two, you have to get past this whole concept of what The whole concept of expert. I need to be an expert. I'm not an expert. Okay. We think we need to be an expert on a topic to say we have significance. That's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. It's good to be well studied. It's good to be highly skilled. It's good to have the know-how, but you could start right where you are. You could start right where you are. Don't wait until it's all together. You know how many people I'm seeing? They're just constantly, they're perfectionists. They're just, I need to be an expert before I start. I need to be an expert before I start. No, maybe some of the people around you may need to be expert to join you in what you're trying to do, but get ready to get past some of the things that you've programmed in your head as to why you can't do something big. As soon as I get this, as soon as I get that, as soon as I get that, and you're putting it off because deep down within, you're dealing with fear. You're dealing with fear, and you've been safeguarding yourself. You've been safeguarding yourself by not allowing yourself to go past your excuses. So there are some people who's, you got to be an expert to be able to do that. You know how many people are defying the odds? You know how many people are going where others said they couldn't go? You know how many people are doing what some have said they're not qualified to do? This whole concept of dreaming big to win starts with your self-belief. And a lot of people don't believe in themselves. A lot of people don't believe in themselves. And you can learn how to increase your belief in self. You can learn how. You say, well, I've done a few things really well. I'm not saying you haven't. I'm not saying you haven't. The question is, have you gone as far as you should have gone? Have you become who you were destined to be? Is there more within you that should have been placed on the table so the world can come and appreciate what you bring to you, what you brought to the planet? As I mentioned before, there's always room for improvement. But for a lot of us, we have this whole concept of a justified position as to why we are not who we should be, and it's causing us to shrink. It's causing us to shrink. Write this down. No more shrinking. Write that down for me. No more shrinking. No more playing small. I really want you to get that in your head, get it in your spirit, and I want you to start thinking, what's the fear factor that's causing you to play small? Ask yourself, what's the insecurity? Ask yourself, what is the low self-esteem factor that's causing me not to think that I'm capable or qualified for better? Number 3, okay? We are addicted to being like. That's one of the reasons why we play small. We're addicted to being like. And oftentimes, if you dream big and then pursue a better, it's going to push you beyond those you've been accustomed to doing life with. And so the challenge is getting past the whole idea of, even if you're not liked by those who once liked you, you're still going to pursue what God's placed on your heart. Now, let me tell you something. A lot of people say, I'm going after what God has placed in my heart. But let me tell you something. When you start getting those negative energy and people starting to show themselves to be jealous and envious and just bad-spirited about your pursuit, when they tell you they're going to support you but don't show up, when they engage in behavior that is like, wow, do you know, I've been writing books and doing seminars and workshops and all kinds of cool stuff. I have some people who've never bought a book, never bought a shirt, never. There's some people who, listen, any which way, they'll follow you on social media but won't like anything, right? You gotta watch this. You host a little workshops or seminars, something like that, they won't come. They need it, They need it. They stuck. They'll call you for a loan, but they won't call you for information on your next open house. They won't call you to figure out, okay, when's your next class, or which project or service you have that they can capitalize on. Someone's going to do well. But you got to watch that circle, that community. You got to watch that group of people who they're not okay with how you're pursuing bigger and better. And watch those people who they can't even give you a like. They can't even give you a congratulations. They can't. They've never given any form of support. But yet they call themselves family, or they call themselves friend. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they said, "Miller, you need to help. You need to help." And I said, "Unfortunately, I can't. I'm accessible, but I'm a strong believer. Advice given but not requested is seldomly appreciated." Let me say that again. Advice given but not requested is seldomly appreciated. So I said, I'm not out here trying to persuade everybody to believe what I believe. If you think Ricardo Miller is on to something, you like how Ricardo Miller is showing up in the world and figuring out the combination to the lock to elevating his life to a whole nother level, it would be smart of you. It would be very wise of you to lean in and says, brother, I think you're onto something. What do I need to do to tap into what you are tapping into so both of us can go up together? I believe it's lonely at the top when you go by yourself, but I believe also it is dangerous to try to go up with people who aren't interested in going up. And so for me, I'm not going to try to push you up if you're not interested in going up. Now, with that said, it took me a while to get past the fact he don't like me, she don't like me, he don't feel me no more, she don't feel me no more. Oh, they got a little something about me. Listen, they had problem with Jesus. They had problem with David. They had problem with Joshua. They had problem with Paul. They had problem. Come on, man. They had problems with Moses. Oh, man, people gonna have some problems with you. Somebody's gonna have a problem with you. And you gotta learn how to stop being so focused on what people have about you and you being focused on what you need to do to get that dream to come to pass. And after a while, listen, they're observing, they're not saying anything. Before you know it, they get a little bit closer. And then when everybody else is celebrating, they say, I knew him a long time ago. We've been friends for a long time. They ain't never bought a book, though. They never came to a class. And they're still suffering in the area of your expertise. Ain't that crazy? They're hungry and you own a restaurant. Okay? They're broke and you're the financial planner. Okay? They got health issues and you're a doctor, but they won't come to your clinic. They won't come to your office and ask for assistance. Isn't that crazy? Okay, listen, you're into real estate. They still renting and they could buy a house through you, but they won't call you to buy a house. You publish books, and guess what? They got the education to write a book, but they won't call you to ask you to help them to publish the book because you're a publisher. That's what you do. Watch those people. Watch those people. The Bible said, mark them. Last but not least, and then we're done. Okay, we don't know how to handle the fear and feeling of vulnerability that comes when we're dreaming big and aspiring to do phenomenal things. We don't know how to handle the fear and the feelings. I struggle with this one. So I had to learn how to do my running. I'm having to learn how to breathe. I'm learning how to meditate. I'm learning to identify what motivates me and inspire me. Even my book, or Effective Living is on Audible now. And listening to my book, I'm like, this is encouraging. This is the real deal. I just didn't just write a book so people can want to get the book. I'm like, if I just read my book for the rest of my life myself and live the book, I would be doing well. Because you got to learn how to get past the fear and the vulnerability factor that actually is built within us that causes us to keep playing small, keep playing safe. You're never going to get to where you're supposed to be if you don't address those inner challenges, those inner critics, those inner issues that's keeping you in a bad place. Why haven't you applied to become a manager? Why haven't you applied to become a supervisor? Why haven't you applied to start that small business? Why haven't you went and got that second property? Why haven't you went ahead and invested in those stocks? Why haven't you? Come on, man. Come on. What can you do that you should have done, but you're still not doing? But nobody in my family's ever had a second property. Nobody's ever in my family's ever had their own business. That's just, I'm not a leader kind of person. I've never been in the front. You're more qualified than the person who's your boss. Think about it. Someone is going to do well. And why is it that we never said, we very seldomly, if ever, think we ought to be the ones doing well? Because sometimes at the very core, we're not even dreaming anymore. We're not aspiring to do big things. I'm here to tell you, you'll be free when you find your place, and your place oftentimes is bigger than where you are. Let me say it again. You'll be free when you find your place, and oftentimes your place is bigger than where you are. But your settling is causing you to be Jonah on the boat. Your settling is causing you to live where you shouldn't live, eat what you shouldn't eat, hang out with people you shouldn't be hanging out with, doing in life what you. And now, when people try to challenge you to level up, that's what effective living is about. This community is about challenging you to level up. And it's a small little nudge that I'm trying to give every morning, small little nudge. And if you make those nudge over time, you're supposed to be seeing things change, because it's working on your mindset. It's working on your behavior. It's working on your speech. It's working on how you view things. It's working on what you're allowing to be heard in your hearing. You got to tell yourself, the process demand that I break past what may have never been broken in my family. The process demands that I may need to change where I live, may need to change my circle, change how I spend my money, change what I read, change what I watch. Man, listen, change what I do in the morning, change what I do in the evening. Make some adjustments to get your dream to come forth. Stop dreaming small. Stop imagining so low, and ask yourself, how further can I take this? How much more can be done in and through me? Why have I been playing so small for so long? Why am I so intimidated? Why am I so concerned about other people's opinion of me? I'm Coach Ricardo Miller. I just wanted to stir your mind up for a moment, and tomorrow we're going to take it a little bit further, because today it was all about what keeps people playing small. Ask yourself that question. Write that in the comment section. What's been keeping me playing small? Why haven't I gone and eat at that restaurant? Why haven't I gone and stay at that resort? Why haven't I went and done that level of travel? Why haven't I chosen to go ahead and go visit and do open house and check out the homes on the other side of town? Why haven't I applied for the position? Why haven't I considered, rather than just buying Starbucks, why haven't I invested in Starbucks? Why is it that I'm always borrowing? Why can't I be the lender? Hello. Why is it that me and everyone in my circle are always the ones beneath? None of us are sitting up at the head of the table. None of us are moving like bosses. Why is it that none of us are in charge? Something's got to change. My prayer after this week is that we're all going to push the envelope a little bit further and pursue bigger, because bigger is within us. You can do more if you believe you can do more. Have a great day, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Don't miss it. Right here, Effective Living. That's what it's all about. Bye-bye.